Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial. So again, we're gonna just continue talking about on CSS selectors, and in this one I'm just gonna show that we can locate the elements with substrings as well. And I'm gonna explain and I'm gonna show what I mean by substrings. So let's just quickly go to our website, the demo store that we're using, and we'll open our Eclipse as well. So let's open the Firebug and quickly see. So back to the search string sort of things, we will try to find this item, right? Where we search for items. So this has an ID called looks like it didn't work. So there it is, right? So this is an input type of tag and it has an ID called substring default. And the way traditionally using CSS selectors, the way we were, so this is again a class, guys, find by CSS part 4, and I just created a blueprint, nothing, just opening the browser, and now we're gonna find the element. So driver.find elements, let's maximize it so you guys can see pretty well. Find element and by.css selector, and then inside it we can say input and then brackets and then ID equals, and it's substring dash default, right? So what we want to do is we again want to send some keys, and let's again search for iPhone, or everybody's favorite, not everybody's, just saying. So this is the way we used to find, right? And yeah, we can append these little single quotes just to make sure that we're this is the search string, right? So that's just safe to use it. It's not mandatory, as I showed in the last class. Without it also it works, but it's just good and little neat to use them. So this is the traditional way, right? Now today I wanted to show you how to find this with substrings. Substring means this is the complete string of the ID. So if I want to provide a partial set of string from it, I can do that and I can try to find my element, right? So by partial set means maybe I can just say string default, or I can just say string, right? And either I can just say remove the both the sides, right? Let's remove sub and let's remove this and try to find with some string that is within that string, right? So basically this portion of string is within the complete string, so we can find with this portion, or we can find with something that is starting portion, right? Or we can find with something that is the end portion of the string. So we can find the element with different portions of the string. Although this is not very common, because if we try to find elements with the substring, there is a large possibility of finding many elements instead of a unique one, because many elements might have a substring that we are looking for and it can return more than one element. So this is what something we don't desire. So this is not a very common type, but in case you really want that and your application has those kind of things which makes it easy for you, I just wanted to show it to you. So there are like 3 symbols that we want to use. The first symbol is the caret key, which is on the number 6. This represents the starting text. So this represents the starting text, right? And I'll show you with the example what I meant. And then the other one is the dollar symbol, right? This represents the ending text, right? And the other one is star, which is again a wildcard, right? Star. And this represents the basically contains text, right? Represents the text contained within it. So the contains text, maybe I can say that, and add an SR, right? So that's what it means, right? So let's try to see. If I put caret here, what it means is it represents the starting text. What I can do is I can just get rid of this maybe the last ones, right? Last ones. So what I'm trying to say here is I want an ID which starts with string dash def. After that anything is possible, but I want to find an element which has an ID that starts with string dash def. So it should find it if I say that. But the result could be many also. So just make sure, again, as we always talk about, we need a unique combination. So always keep that thing in mind. So let's run this code and see what it does, right? So it should just run normally. Should just bring up the browser, and sorry, let's run it. It didn't run. So run as Java application, and it should just type iPhone in our search text box and should get a positive result out of this test case. So it just goes there. It looks like there's some issue, so it didn't type right now. So let's close it. And as I mentioned, what happened right now is it says string is this element is not found, unable to locate this element, right? So looks like some issue. Oh my goodness, what happened is I typed in the wrong ID, right? It starts with substring def, right? And we are looking for string def, so it should start with substring def. If I do that, because sub is the first word, right? It starts with sub, it doesn't start with string, right? So let's run the code again and it should be fine. So it just goes to the website and it should just type in iPhone, and it did, right? So let's close the browser real quick and get back to the code. So it worked, right? The second way I wanted to show you is using the star, from where we want to find the last ending string, right? So if I say here, sorry, not the star, dollar sign. If I say the dollar sign, I'm looking for an element which has an ID that ends with some particular text, and that particular text that we want to put is maybe default, right? Or maybe just add a dash as well, just to make sure that we are looking at the right element. So let's run the code again and see if it does the task, right? So opens the website and types in the iPhone, right? That's what we wanted. So let's quickly close the browser, and we saw two different ways to do it. So it was successful in both the ways. So let's take a look at the third one, right? So the third one is using the star, which means it contains the text that we are looking for, right? So I'm just going to replace this dollar with this star, and I want to type a string in between. So instead of sub, I'm just going to type string. So I'm just removing sub from the beginning, and I'm just going to remove the last part of default, maybe this. So what I meant is I'm looking for an element that's an input tag, and it has an ID that contains a string, that contains a substring in between, which is string dash defa, right? So before that it could be anything, after that it could be anything. So in our case, in our element, it's actually sub before and alt afterwards, right? So let's look for this and let's see if it will also, if it's also able to find the element. So let's just run the code, and the browser is up, it's going to the website, and it should just find it. So yeah, it just found it, and it typed in iPhone in our search box, right here. You can see that. So let's close the browser quickly and let's see that. So what we did is we just looked at all the three possible combinations: the starting of the string, the ending of the string, and the string within it, right? The substring, the exact contains text, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's not very commonly used because it might lead multiple results for an element. There could be many elements with a particular substring, right? For an example, this could be a different word. Maybe if you're looking for ing, let's say, it could be a different word, and there is just a substring called ing. So it's not that common, but just try to find some elements, or maybe just use this one. The files will always be there on the web. So practice a little bit. Stay tuned for the next lectures, guys, and thanks for learning this one.